Tashbav Amid Aleph. We didn't get very far. We started, I don't know, whatever. This is where we're holding. Akeres Mabli Snilas Niyatza. So it's 15a in the middle. Someone recites the Shema, but he doesn't hear what he's saying. In other words, he's not enunciating the words. So the first opinion, the opinion of the Tanakama is Yatza. We're going to see that this is the opinion of Rabbi Yosi. Yosi Emila Yatza. Yosi says he doesn't fulfill his obligation. We'll see the explanation for that in a moment. Part of like if Yosi says he reads the Shema, but he's not careful, blurs the words. He's not careful with the letters. So now we have Rabbi Yosi being lenient. Rabbi Yosi Emila Yatza. Rabbi Yehuda Emila Yatza. Rabbi Yehuda says that he's not yet. He's strict about this. Akerla Matraya. Someone reads it backwards. And he says things out of order. But Yatza. Part of it.
Hi. We need everybody to please mute their phones. Thank you. Mute on Zoom.
He has to go back to the place that he made a mistake. He doesn't recite the whole thing over. He goes back to the place that where he messed up. My time with Rabbi Yosi, the Gemara says, what's the reason for Rabbi Yosi? Why does Rabbi Yosi hold that you have to hear the words of Shema? In other words, you say the Shema, but you have to hear yourself saying it. What's the reason? It says, Mishum Deksiv Shema. It says the word Shema. And the way we translated it, the way we did this yesterday was we said, Shama. So you should pause to hear. Your ears have to hear what you utter from your mouth. The Tanakama Savar, the Tanakama holds. They learn that the word Shema teaches me something else. It teaches me that in any language, you can recite the Shema in any language. And they don't hold that you have to hear it. You just have to move your lips along with it, but not to hear it. Rabbi Yosi Tarti Shema. Word Shema tells me two things. It tells me what you hear. We're on 15a. The word Shema tells me that you have to hear it, and also that you can say it in any language. Why do we have to say that? Maybe Rabbi Yosi holds like Rebbe. Well, maybe we don't want to make him like this. Like this anyway. For some reason, we want to say that Rabbi Yosi holds like the Chacham. I'm not sure exactly why we have to do it. Because we had a machlekes before.
Guys, we need everybody to please mute on Zoom. It's right next to where it says start the video.
Any language. I'm not sure why it needs to feel like that. Tanan, it was taught in the Mishnah. Hasam, over there, this is in Shumas. If someone that's deaf, he's not a mute, but he can't hear. So he can speak, but he can't hear. So it says, Lo Yitrain, he shouldn't be the one to separate the Truma. The Imtaram, but if he did separate Truma, it works. So, Truma requires...
Shmuley, your phone is still on. It's making a lot of noise.
You have to give 2% to the Kayan, Tremi Meya. It's either 2% or something like that. 1 out of 50, or it's 1 out of 40 or 1 out of 60. But the average would be Truma, Tremi Meya. And he's supposed to recite a bracha when he does that. So we say that someone that can't hear should not be the one to do it. But if he did separate the Truma, it's good.
The action precedes the speech.
He did the action.
What?
So he did the action. And he tried to say the bracha as well. But he just doesn't hear it. Who would hold that if someone can recite, but he can't hear, that b'di'evid it works? That means after the fact it works. So if you look at our Mishnah, Rabbi Yosi was the one that said that if someone recites the Shema but he doesn't hear it, he's not Yetzer. Probably not Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yehuda says, or the first opinion said that you are Yaitza. Maybe it's Rabbi Yehuda. But look at what the Gemara says. I'm Rav Chisda Rabbi Yossi. Rav Chisda says no, it's Rabbi Yossi. How does that work? The Tanan goes like this. We have these extra words here. Or the Bach takes them out. Someone recites the Shema and he doesn't hear it, he's Yaitza. That's the first opinion. Rabbi Yossi says that you're not Yaitza. Ad kan lekam Rabbi Yossi lo yatsa legabi kriya Shema deraisa. Why does Rabbi Yossi say that you're not Yaitza? That's because it's kriya Shema, the special halacha. You have to be able to hear it. Abel truma mishum brachahu, but truma, the whole reason is because you have to recite a bracha to separate the truma. Ubracha derabana, v'lay bebracha tal yimilsa. It's not dependent on the bracha. If you don't say the bracha, you're still Yaitza the truma. So, could be Rabbi Yossi that holds that you're not Yaitza by Kriya Shema, holds that you're Yaitza by Truma. Okay. Gemara says, "Mimayde Rabbi Yossi." How do you know that it's Rabbi Yossi? It could be that it's really Rabbi Yehuda. You see, we didn't get the first opinion clear. We said someone recites the Shema and he doesn't hear it, he's Yaitza. We didn't get that clear. It doesn't mean that lechatchila you don't have to hear it, or it doesn't mean b'diavad. So we're going to follow this. We're going to call this the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to discuss what the first. We know that Rabbi Yossi holds b'diavad, you're not Yaitza after the fact. So the question is, what about the first opinion? Gemara says, "Mimayde Rabbi Yossi." How do you know that it's Rabbi Yossi? Dilma Rabbi Yehudi. Maybe the halacha by truma that the diavad works. L'chatchila, you shouldn't do it like that. The diavad it works. Maybe it's really the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda that holds that Shema you're Yaitza. Amar gabe Kriya Shema nami diavad in l'chatchila like. Maybe by Kriya Shema he holds the same thing. That l'chatchila you're not supposed to, and the diavad it works, and same thing by the bracha by the truma. Teda, I'll bring you proof. Diktani hakaire, it says someone that recites. That means doesn't say one may recite. It says someone that recited the Shema is Yaitza. If it wanted to say lechatchila, it would have said one may recite. That means Rabbi Yehuda holds that it only works for the Eved. The Eved in lechatchila lai. That means that it works after the fact, but not lechatchila. So this could be the Brisa about Truma, could be Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Umar says Amri. They said, "Hai diktani akayrei." This that it says that someone that recited and it works for the Eved, leidiach hakaychid Rabbi Yossi. It's coming to tell you the Chumrah of Rabbi Yossi that even after the fact, you're still not Yaitza. If he would have said one may recite the Kriya Shema even if he doesn't hear it, and Rabbi Yossi says no, he may not. Doesn't tell me if he was Yaitza after the fact. So therefore, we say it in the B'diavad form, which is someone that recited is Yaitza, and Rabbi Yossi says no, he's not Yaitza. So it tells me the Chumrah of Rabbi Yossi. Taisus asks that why don't you say the heter of Rabbi Yehuda that even the Chatchila. Usually we say kayach de teira. You're looking to tell me the chiddush, tell me the leniency that Rabbi Yehuda holds even the Chatchila. And Taisus says that according to Rabbi Yehuda, it wouldn't be a chiddush because he doesn't have any drasha of Shema. Okay, so let's go inside in the Gemara. The Rabbi Yehuda feel lechatchila nam yatsa because according to Rabbi Yehuda, even lechatchila you're yaitza. Lechatchila you can recite the Shema according to Rabbi Yehuda without hearing it, and according to Rabbi Yossi, even b'diavad you're not yaitza. So what comes out right here is that we have polar opinions, extreme opinions. Rabbi Yehuda holds lechatchila you're allowed to, and Rabbi Yossi even b'diavad you're not yaitza. Okay, so if that's the case, we're back to Truma. Being that l'chatchila you're not supposed to take truma. If you can't hear what you're saying, it can't be Rabbi Yehuda. He holds l'chatchila you're allowed to recite the Shema. It must be Rabbi Yossi. The Mayu came to Rabbi Yossi. How did you establish the truma Mishnah with Rabbi Yossi? But we have another brisa. Lo yavarach adam because he mustn't believe, but a person should not say benching in his heart. Then beirach yatsa. But if he does it, he's yaitza. That means l'chatchila no, b'diavad yes. B'diavad after the fact, it works. He said it in his heart, it works. Mani, whose opinion is this? Lei Rabbi Yossi v'lei Rabbi Yehuda. It can't be Rabbi Yossi or Rabbi Yehuda. Di Rabbi Yehuda amar l'chatchila nami yatsa. You know, you could play with this a little bit because it says levar chadam b'ksamazin b'libai. That could be different than layashmiel azna. Layashmiel azna maybe he is. Layashmiel azna means he can't hear it, but it could mean that he said it so quietly that it. B'libai just means he thought it. It means he didn't do anything with his mouth. You could the Gemara doesn't do that. The Gemara considers it the same thing here, but. It could have taken a different.
So as long as you cannot hear yourself, or you hear your mouth, you don't count.
Yeah, from the Mishnah, I said he recited the Shema, but he didn't hear it. Sounds like he's moving his lips.
Deaf people are they're really
When we finish this Gemara, ask me that again. And now in the middle, it depends which opinion. That's why let's get to the halacha. Actually, the halacha is going to be like Rabbi Yehuda, but we don't know what Rabbi Yehuda holds yet. Brachos Hamazon, it's l'chatchila no, b'diavad yes when it comes to reciting it in the heart. So who's it going to fit with? We don't have a b'diavad, a difference between b'diavad and l'chatchila. Rabbi Yehuda's l'chatchila yes, and Rabbi Yosef's b'diavad no. No one holds that middle opinion. Rabbi Yosef, di Rabbi Yehuda, Amar l'chatchila nami yatsa. Rabbi Yehuda holds l'chatchila, you're allowed to. Di Rabbi Yosef, the Evan namila. If it's Rabbi Yosef, then even b'diavad, it doesn't work. So who holds this? Elamai, it has to be Rabbi Yehuda. B'diavad in l'chatchila loy. Must be that we didn't get Rabbi Yehuda's opinion correct. When Rabbi Yehuda held Hakiriyas Shema v'leishmil asna yatsa, we said that really it could be even l'chatchila. But if that's the case, and we don't have anyone that holds la yavarech adam b'Brachos Hamazon, believe I. So let's change the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. That Rabbi Yehuda really holds l'chatchila. You're not supposed to recite the Shema and not hear it. In b'diavad, you are yaitzid. Now we have a pshat in the Brachos Hamazon. L'chatchila, no. B'diavad, yes. Now the problem is, Ela hadatani Rabbi Yehuda breder Rav Shimon ben Pazi. Chirish ha'medaber bein ha'shemei terem l'chatchila. New opinion here. You have another opinion. Don't let it confuse you just because his name is Rabbi Yehuda, but it's Rabbi Yehuda breder Rav Shimon ben Pazi. He says that someone that's deaf that could speak says he's allowed to take Truma l'chatchila. So we ask Mani, whose opinion is that? We just now established that Rabbi Yossi holds b'diavad. Kriya Shema doesn't work for sure. B'diavad, if you can't hear it. Rabbi Yehuda holds there's a difference between l'chatchila and b'diavad. L'chatchila no, b'diavad it works. So who holds l'chatchila mamish? Mani, who is this? Lei Rabbi Yehuda v'lei Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda, if it's Rabbi Yehuda, Amar b'diavad and l'chatchila light. Rabbi Yehuda holds that it depends. L'chatchila no, b'diavad it works. Rabbi Yossi, Amar b'diavad namila. And according to Rabbi Yossi, it's only worse. Even b'diavad it doesn't work. We're asking who holds that Truma could be taken by someone that can't hear. Even l'chatchila. Eliyalam Rabbi Yehuda. We have to go back and say that it is Rabbi Yehuda. V'afil l'chatchila nami. And he holds that even l'chatchila you're allowed to recite the Shema, and even if you can't hear it. So we said 1 second. So who held Brachos Hamazon? So it's v'lei kasha. There's no problem. Hadidei hadarabne. There's Rabbi Yehuda's own opinion, and there's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion in the name of his teacher. It goes like this. T'tanan. So we threw in another opinion here. T'tanan Rabbi Yehuda mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Hakiriyas Shema tzarich sheyashmiel la'aznei. Someone, Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Take a look at our charts. We've been dealing with two students of Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. They're arguing over here about reciting the Shema when you can't hear it. And now we're saying that Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. On the chart, there's a star by him, probably because he was considered a superstar, like the head of the yeshiva. What's wrong? You don't see it? I went to photos. Let me see. Oh, that's okay. 1 second.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1 second. I'm sorry. Have to speak. Just muted. Your video has stopped. 1 second.
Rabbi, it's fine.
Coffee break.
Okay. Are we good? Tell me if you see us, Danielle or Dr.
Yeah.
Stein.
It was always fine. It was always okay.
I don't know how to do it. See if it's working on from their side. And then we'll just leave it. Just leave it on there. Let's see. Is that all right? Text them and see if there's a problem. Okay. So.
Oh, we're in, right? We're on?
I hope so.
Yeah. Let me see you. That's it.
It's good?
Yeah.
So. We said now that Rabbi Yehuda is saying something in the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. And what does he say? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah is a generation earlier. So and he says, it's interesting, he says Mishum. Okay. It says that if someone recites the Shema, tzarech, it's necessary to hear it. Shenemar Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It says, listen, Israel. So, Rabbi Yehuda holds in the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah that you're supposed to hear the Shema. Now, what does it mean you're supposed to?
You said generation earlier?
Yeah.
Could it be just because he was 17 and he was just younger in that same generation? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
He was much younger than everybody. He was the youngest. Yeah.
He's not amongst Rabbi Yossi. I hear what he's saying.
So I was thinking everybody else was like 40 and 50 and 17.
Right. Innovative idea. Yeah, but you never find them in this stuff. So, what does it mean, tzarech? That it's necessary? That means lechatchila. We have an opinion here that holds that lechatchila you shouldn't. Lechatchila you should hear. You shouldn't recite it without hearing. You should lechatchila you should hear. And Amalei Reb Meir responds, that I command to you today on your heart. Only matters what's in the heart. Okay. So we have a machlekes here between Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda. If a person lechatchila in Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Reb Yehuda, the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, if lechatchila person should hear the Shema, Reb Meir says it's not necessary. Look at where we're holding now. So we can say that Rabbi Yossi is the one. We'd say that Truma would be Rabbi Yehuda. Because with Truma that says that you have to, that lechatchila you shouldn't. Yeah, you're supposed to lechatchila you shouldn't if you can't hear. That would be Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi, who holds about Brachos Hamazon and Berach Yatza is also Rabbi Yehuda. Who says that lechatchila you're allowed to take Truma even if you can't hear it? That would be Rabbi Yehuda. That would be Rabbi Yehuda himself. All of those Rabbi Yehuda, that difference between lechatchila and B'diavad is Rabbi Yehuda, the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Now Rabbi Yehuda himself holds that even lechatchila you're allowed to. Now the Gemara says 1 second. Once we've reached this state where you quoted to me a brisa that says that there's a machlekes in the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and Reb Meir that says even lechatchila you don't have to hear it. Afilu temer Rabbi Yehuda karabi svirlei. You can say that Rabbi Yehuda holds like his teacher. But like Kasha, her Reb Meir, her Rabbi Yehuda. And Reb Meir is the one that says lechatchila you don't have to. You don't have to hear it. And Rabbi Yehuda says lechatchila you should hear it. So we don't have to say that Rabbi Yehuda holds different than his teacher because we've introduced a new opinion. That's interesting. Can I borrow your pencil? just want to put this down that they're calling Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, the teacher of Rabbi Yehuda, which is interesting. You know, Rabbi Yehuda is Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Lai. We know that Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Lai learned by Rabbi Akiva, and we know that he learned by Rabbi Lai, his father. That we have third generation. So here, Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Okay, Tanan Hassan will stood over there. Listen to this. Hakol Kshem Likras as a Megillah. Everyone is permitted to recite, to read the Megillah. Puts Mecher Shay to the cut, except for Eris, someone that's deaf. Shaita is imbecile, and Katan is a child. Which type of Katan we'll see in a moment. Rabbi Yehuda Machshir the Katan. Rabbi Yehuda says a Katan it's permitted to recite the Megillah.
But when somebody that is deaf can speak?
Apparently. Cherish. How else should he do it? Over here, there's a discussion what deaf means, but over here, if he's reciting it, it has to be he can speak, right? Mantana cherish diavad namilai. Who's the one? We think that when it says Hakol Kshem Likras as Megillah Chutz, we think that these exceptions mean that even b'diavad it doesn't work, even though it's written in the lechatchila form. Who's the one that says even b'diavad a cherish doesn't work? Amar Rav Masna Rav Yosi. Oh, that's Rav Yosi. Rav Yosi in the Mishnah says if you recite the Shema and you can't hear it, even b'diavad it doesn't work. So this Mishnah must be Rav Yosi. The Tanan, Hakir Shema b'leish milah ozna yatsa. The Rav Yehuda Rav Yosi milah yatsa. Rav Yosi says you're not yatsa. Now the Gemara asks me, how do you know that the Mishnah by Megillah that says that those exceptions, don't work, is even b'diavad? Maybe Dilma, Rabbi Yehuda, maybe the Mishnah only means that who's allowed to lechatchila is everyone. Who's not allowed to lechatchila is a cher shayt v'katan. But b'diavad it works by all of them. And it's not Rabbi Yosi, it's Rabbi Yehuda. Don't think like that. The Tani Cheirish Dumi the Shayt B'Katan, because it says someone that's deaf in the same phrase in the same group as a Shayt B'Katan. Ma Shayt B'Katan diavad namilai, a Cheirish diavad namilai. Look, an imbecile and a katan for sure diavad doesn't work. So and it says Cheirish together with them, someone that can't hear, a child. So a minor. So it's probably the same halacha by each. The same halacha for all of them together.
When it says that these people can't read in the Megillah, doesn't mean they can yield to somebody else or can yield to themselves. So if there's not an obligation for them to hear it, then they can't yield to somebody else. But if there's not a, they can yield to themselves.
Maybe later. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. There's more. Usually we say that something that you're not believe in, you can't be right to someone else. That's usually what we say. But over here we weren't saying the chiyuv. Here we're not discussing the chiyuv. Here we're just talking about the are you able by the shaita katan we're talking about the chiyuv. By the cheirish we're asking, does he fulfill it by not hearing? Or maybe no, maybe this is the chiyuv. Maybe that's what. Maybe we're discussing the chiyuv. Is he obligated? I don't know if that's correct. Okay, the Gemara says he's reciting it, but he can't hear it. The Dilma, maybe hakadisa v'hakadisa, maybe that there's different halachas. So when we say cheirish shayt v'katan, we put it together. Maybe they're supposed to be separate. In other words, there's a different halacha for each. L'chatchila, all three should not recite the Megillah. Shayta and katan, even b'diavad don't work. But a cheirish b'diavad works. We were only discussing the l'chatchila not. All three are equal. But maybe hakadisa v'hakadisa, maybe they have a difference.
That's a good point.
It's interesting in
somebody who's deaf, right? Deaf, that can pronounce if he would be yoiser to do the kerchma.
Right. In Ebenezer, when it discusses having a child, being fulfilling the mitzvah through a revul. So it discusses if the child is not well, or the child, it says if he gives birth to a chayer shaykh of the katan. So the commentators over there adjust the katan. They say you have to take out katan because every person gives birth to a katan. When they're born, they're a katan. But it's just so common to throw that together that it was put in the print. I don't know if you remember. In the print, it says chayer shaykh of the katan. It doesn't mean katan. Every child was born right?
There are no born grown men.
Right. So, Umi matzis lo k'mikra Rabbi Yehuda. Can we say that the Mishnah in Megillah that says Kol Kshem Liksam Megillah Chutz Mecher Sheit V'Katan is Rabbi Yehuda, and B'di Eved it would work in Hakadisa V'Hakadisa? That means Sheit V'Katan doesn't work B'di Eved, but a Cheresh does work B'di Eved. But if you look a little further, Rabbi Yehuda Machshir B'Katan. It says that Rabbi Yehuda says that a Katan can read the Megillah. Michlal, the Reish Alav Rabbi Yehudi. It must be, if Rabbi Yehuda's quoted in the end, it must mean that he's not the one that's saying the first part. Because it says Rabbi Yehuda says. That means he didn't say, he wasn't talking until now. So the Gemara says, 1 second. The Dilma Kula Rabbi Yehuda, Trik Avni Katan. Maybe the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda, and there's 2 types of katan. And the Mishnah is missing words, and we have to add something in. Taisus is very bothered by this. He says we never find that will create a chasuri mechsra to create a problem. Maybe it's really not the way you're saying. We say in the Mishnah. Usually we'll say the Mishnah is missing words to correct the problem. Here we're saying the Mishnah is missing words to create a problem. So Taisva says that we're putting an emphasis here to establish whatever we can like Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda is going to be the halacha. In other words, we could have resolved all this. Said it's Rabbi Yossi.
Which hold that with the speech, right?
Rabbi Yehuda holds that we'll see. We don't know what Rabbi Yehuda holds, but each time we're confused. We'll wait till the end. So first, let's discuss the katan. And it's missing words, and this is how it should be taught. Everyone is acceptable to read the Megillah. That's an abbreviation. Except for someone that's deaf, an imbecile, and a child. That's talking about a child that hasn't reached the age of education, which is usually when he's able to perform that mitzvah. But if the child has reached the age of education, which makes him obligated rabbinically to fulfill the mitzvah, it's kosher. Even lechatchila would be good. Rabbi Yehuda machshir b'katan, because Rabbi Yehuda says that a katan can fulfill the mitzvah. Now, there's a whole discussion here. The discussion has to do with Taisus asked this before on the page back. Taisus says that maybe he's asking what's the reason for the Rabbanan that they say that it's no good that a katan can't read the Megillah. Megillah is all rabbinic, and a child is obligated rabbinically. So let the rabbinic obligation of the child. Let this rabbinic obligation of the child work. Quotes a Gemara that if a father eats eats only a kazayas of bread, but he's not full, so the benching is rabbinic. We bench by just eating a kazayas, even though it really the rice said you have to be full. So a child that ate and he's full, so he has an obligation rabbinically to bench because chinuch. You see that? And the father ate, but he's only has obligation rabbinic as well because he didn't eat more than kazai. He's not full, so the child might see the father. Anyway, Taisus concludes over here. Here, the child is rabbinically obligated to fulfill a rabbinic obligation. That's two rabbanot, as opposed to everyone else has only one rabbanot. Okay, where are we holding here? We said that the Mishnah would be Rabbi Yehuda. In the Chatchila, you should not. A Cheresh should not recite the Megillah, should not read the Megillah, but b'diavad it works. And the Katan, we established that it depends what type of Katan. When Rabbi Yehuda says a Katan works, that's a Katan she'egia l'china. But Mayu came to Rabbi Yehuda b'diavad in l'chatchila loy. How did you establish this? You said it's Rabbi Yehuda and b'diavad in l'chatchila loy. B'diavad, yes, it works. But l'chatchila not el hadatani. Rabbi Yehuda b'rei Reb Shimon ben Pazi. Cheresh hamidaber bein hashimaya. Tayrem l'chatchila mani. We quote what this. We quoted this before once. That there's an opinion that holds that a cheresh, someone that can speak but not hear, he is allowed to take truma lechatchila. Who would say that? If Rabbi Yehuda himself, that's the lenient one here, holds only b'diavad that it works, who's going to say lechatchila that you're allowed to go ahead and take truma like this? Mani, who is the author? What did it say, Rabbi? Yeah, you're ahead. The Gemara repeats it. Rabbi Yehuda v'lei Rabbi Yaisi. It's not Rabbi Yehuda and not Rabbi Yaisi. Rabbi Yehuda diavad in lechatchila loy. If it's Rabbi Yehuda only says diavad it works. That means after the fact. Rabbi Yaisi diavad nami loy. If it's Rabbi Yaisi, even b'diavad it doesn't work. Elamai, it must be Rabbi Yehuda. Ba'afil lechatchila nami, and Rabbi Yehuda really holds that even lechatchila you're allowed to. You lose chutz micher sheit b'katan. He can't be the author of the Mishnah. Gemara says, if that's the case, that Rabbi Yehuda holds l'chatchila, yes, and Rabbi Yossi holds b'diavad, no. We put them on polar extremes. Then who's the one that says that benching is l'chatchila? You shouldn't bench in your heart, but b'diavad, if you did, you're yaitzer. Lei Rabbi Yehuda v'lei Rabbi Yossi. It doesn't fit like either one.
There was definition on the heart.
It means he doesn't pronounce it. He doesn't hear it.
So he closes his eyes.
Yeah, he thinks through the words. Rabbi Yehuda, if it's to say that would be Rabbi Yehuda, he says that l'chatchila you're allowed to bench in your heart. Rabbi Yaisi, if it's Rabbi Yaisi, then even b'diavad it doesn't work. So we don't have an author to that Mishnah. Gemara says, "Leilam Rabbi Yehuda hivafil l'chatchila nami." Really, it's Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda holds l'chatchila. You are allowed to bench in your heart. We said that before, it's Rabbi Yehuda who holds b'diavad, that it only works b'diavad. That's the opinion of his teacher. Who's his teacher? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. The Tanya was taught in a brayso, Rabbi Yehuda mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Usually, the word mishum doesn't mean that he heard it directly. But hakayre shema tzarich sheyashmi'u la'oznai, someone that recites the Shema is supposed to hear it. Shenemar Shema Yisrael. It says Shema Yisrael. We don't quote the end of it. Amalei Reb Meir. Reb Meir says that it only requires the thought in the heart. Okay, so we have two opinions of Rabbi Yehuda. One is his own and one is his teacher. So therefore, his teacher holds that b'diavad it works, but not lechatchila. So we can establish the Mishnah to be Megillah to be like Rabbi Yehuda and his teacher. That b'diavad it doesn't. B'diavad it works. Lechatchila he's not supposed to. Cheresh is not supposed to read the Megillah.
Rabbi, what if they can't hear too well or speak too well?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the criteria is. Like at what point it's considered deaf. I don't know.
Well, could be pretty simple if there was a lot of noise in the room.
The guy saying ah. If he says too many times, that mean I don't know the criteria exactly. I don't know if it says. That's what the later place can discuss. You know, and then they would discuss if a hearing aid and what that does, and that's the Gemara's like all the background to that. Hashdas is lahachi. The Gemara concludes the same way we concluded with the last one. He said, "Afilu temer Rabbi Yehuda to Rabbi Yisrael." We could even say that Rabbi Yehuda which is Rabbi Yehuda Bar Bilai, holds like his teacher, which is Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, like Kasha or Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Meir. There's no question. There's Rabbi Yehuda himself, which is the same as his teacher, who says l'chatchila he should not recite the Shema, he should not recite the Megillah, or etc. But the evidence works. And Rabbi Meir that says even l'chatchila it's good. Okay, and then that would be the opinion of Truma that says that l'chatchila you could go ahead and take Truma, even though you can't hear the bracha. Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Rav Shila, some justice. Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Marukva. Halacha Rabbi Yehuda Shamnu Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, but halacha Rabbi Yehuda. The halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda that says the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and the halacha is also like Rabbi Yehuda. We just established that it's but then at the end we concluded that we could say that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yehuda could hold like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. That could be his own opinion as well, and Rabbi Meir would be that other opinion. So the Gemara explains, Utzricha, and he has to say it. Because if he just said Alachik Rabbi Yehuda, we could have thought Rabbi Yehuda holds l'chatchila, that you're allowed to recite the Shema and etc., even though you can't hear it, or even though you didn't hear it. Kamash Malan, so that's why it says Alachik Rabbi Yehuda Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, that says only by the evidence works. Alachik Rabbi Yehuda Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. If we would say that if we would say that Allah is like Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, he said tzarech, that it's necessary to say it. Tzarech sheyesh mi'laznei. Hava mina tzarech vein like takana. I would have thought that tzarech, the word tzarech, necessary, means that even b'di'evet, that you're not yaitze, even b'di'evet. Kamash malan alachik Rabbi Yehuda. So we said alachik Rabbi Yehuda that b'di'evet it works. In other words, we wouldn't have known how to learn Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah if we didn't add in Halachik Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, Amar Rav Yosef. Yosef says, Machlekes b'Kriyas Shema. The Machlekes is regarding Shema. If you have to hear it, b'di'evet, Aval b'shar mitzvahs, but when it comes to all mitzvahs, divrei hakol layatz. Everyone holds that you're not yaitza if you don't hear. You don't hear it. Brachos Daf, everything else. The Ksiv, Haskes Shema Yisrael, says, be attentive and listen. Taisvis over here says that we just went through a whole discussion that halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, that l'chatchila you shouldn't, and b'di'evet yes, the b'di'evet it works. And the discussion involved Truma, Megillah, and Brachos Daf. Comes along Rabbi Yosef and says it's only by Kriya Shema, but by other mitzvahs not. And Taisva says that Rabbi Yosef is arguing on everything that we just learned. See that? Rabbi Yosef Palagasugi Delal, the whole Gemara just like drops the whole discussion. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. It says Liyavar Chadam Brachos Hamazon Believe even Berach Yatza. What does it mean? According to Rabbi Yosef, how could it be Yaitza? It says, Haskes Shema Yisrael. Be attentive and listen. And you're not Yaitza even b'di'evet. It doesn't fit. Over here it says Yaitza Brachos Hamazon if you can't hear the words. We have to adjust what Rabbi Yosef says. Rabbi Yosef Machlekes b'Kriyas Shema. It's Shema Yisrael. By Kriyas Shema it says that he has to hear it, and that's why there's a Machlekes. Al b'shar mitzvahs divrei hakol yatza, but by other mitzvahs it says. By other mitzvahs, everyone agrees that you're yaitze even if you don't hear it with the evidence. Where says 1 second, you just quoted a pasuk v'aksiv haskes Shema Yisrael. Be attentive and listen. It says Yehuba divrei Torah. That's referring to studying Torah. You're supposed to hear it. But by other mitzvahs, you don't have to hear it. Is there a note in the art scroll? What does it mean that by divrei Torah? Because there's another way of reading this. Haskes, Rashi quotes. Make yourself crushed. And then Yeshua adds, Shema teaches one must read aloud the words of Torah he is studying. Ritva, that he does not require one to hear what he is learning, but that he understands what he's learning. Okay, there's a discussion about this. Okay. Kara, a new piece. Kara v'leidiktik beis yisrael. Someone recited the Shema, but he wasn't careful with the letters. He slurred. So Amar Rav Tavi, Amar Rav Yoshia, Amar Rav Tuvia, Amar Rav Yoshia. They corrected on the side. Kara is 3, and Kara is the same letters. That's why, because you read it. The Mishnah is because you go over it. And Shiner is to go over it. And then the Bryce is Tani, tough in the shin. Like the Stein doesn't, I heard this enough for me. But the tough and the shin are interchangeable. So like Tani and Mishnah is the same. So Kara is Mikra.
What's in the
Kara.
cross up?
Oh, no. Oh, that's with an I. That's with an I, and that's the Tia. That's the Tia, yeah. So Kara, he reads, "V'leidiktik beis yisrael," and he's not careful. Amar Rav Tuvia, Amar Rav Yoshia, halachic d'rishneim lahakal. Both machlekes in that we have in our Mishnah. So machlekes Rav Yosi and Rav Yehuda regarding if you have to hear the Shema. There's a machlekes Rav Yosi and Rav Yehuda regarding if you have to be exact in the pronunciation. You go like both lenient opinions. You go like Rav Yehuda regarding listening if you have to hear it, and you go like Rav Yosi regarding if you didn't recite it exact. You weren't careful with the letters. Both of them to be lenient. Amar Rav Tuvia, Amar Rav Yoshia. What's the Rav Tuvia in the name of Rav Yoshia? What's the meaning of the pasuk? Shali Shena Leitis Bena. Pasuk in Mishlei. 3 things are never satisfied. Sha'ol. Sounds like it rhymes with Gehenim. Sha'ol. Okay. In English, it's with an L. So va'itzerechem, and the womb, the narrow part of the womb. Okay. And the pasuk goes on, and it says that the earth is never satisfied with water, and fire doesn't say that it has enough. Fire will just continue to consume. What's this comparison here? It's coming to tell you, just like the womb enters and exits from the womb, also from Gehenim, it enters and exits. The Gemara adds, and it's also a kal v'chaimer. Just like the womb, it enters silently, but what comes out with screams. The woman's in labor. When a person passes away, everyone's crying. For sure, when they come out of Gehenim, it means when Mashiach comes, and the Tchias HaMesim, be Taka b'Shofar Gadol, there'll be the cry of the Shofar. There'll be a lot of sounds. And Mikan Tshuva Lo'im and Tchias HaMesim in the Torah. It's an unbelievable statement there. Here is a response to those that say that Tchias HaMesim is not written in the Torah. Where is it written? It's written in Mishlei. Because of the comparison from Sha'ol to Eitzerecha, that you come out. Why is that called Torah? I know the Gemara calls it Torah. Why is it? I mean, usually Torah is like Chumash. Usually Torah is Chumash. This is a surprising comment.
But every Nogi, why is the source itself to Torah? So it's not just saying it abstract. There's got to be a source.
But I was thinking that we know that there's from Navi, we know there's sources for this, but is there a source in the actual Chumash? And it would tell me Oz Yasher or something. Maybe it would tell me something from Bilam. I don't know. It would say something, and it says no. The source from the Torah is a pasuk in Mishlei.
It's saying 3.
Oh,
right.
And then it continues to earth. What about why is it 3? Because there's. What about the Aish? Doesn't it? Aish. Sha'ol v'tzirachim. Why is that 3 if it says?
The Aish says something else. Lo Amra Hain.
What does that mean? The Lo Amra Hain. It doesn't say that it has enough. No, it doesn't mean that it's not satisfied. Okay. No, in the Gemara it doesn't have it. Is that another pasuk? 4. And then it's 4.
Yeah.
Do you have a comment?
Just Stein wants his question.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, very interesting. Like the Stein is saying about that the word kever also means the womb. In Nida, kever meant the womb, and it also means the grave. And this is the comparison: the womb and the womb and the grave. That's interesting. Tani Rabbi Shia Kamei, it can't be Rabbi Shia. Tani Rabbi Yoshia, like it's corrected. Kamei the Rava. Rabbi Shia was much earlier. Rabbi Yoshia taught in the. Rabbi Yoshia was also must be somewhere. I don't know. Kamei de. Anyone have another version over here? Rava. Let me look in your Gemara see what they correctly.
Rabbi Yeshua taught the following version of the presence of God.
Yeah, they don't correct it. I don't know. I suspect this. Rabbi Yoshia is much earlier. Rabbi Yoshia is for sure earlier. Rabbi Yoshia, and Rabbi Yoshia, Kamei. Maybe I'm not sure. I have a maybe it's Rebbe. And Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Yoshia Kamei the Rebbe. Okay, let's whatever it is. It says like this. Uchsavtam. Hakol b'ksav. Afilu tzavos. Everything has to be written in the tefillin. In the mezuzah, you have to write everything, even the instructions. Tzavos are the instructions, which are the psukim of Kshatim Leisal Yedachel Tzavtim al Mezuzahs. That you have to write as well. In other words, you don't just have to write that God is one and you should love Hashem with all your heart. You don't only have to write that, you have to write even the command that says that you should write it. That you also have to write.
It says here that Uksav is made up of Uksav
Tam, which Tam means complete, right? To write it all. I can clarify that. Ksiva Tama, it says, that's another one. Ksiva Tama, that tells me that I can't have a hole in a letter, right? Amalei, so Rava says to Rabbi Shia, Damalach Mani, who told this to you? Or who says this? Rabbi Yehudi. It's Rabbi Yehuda, Damagabi Saita. The Damagabi Saita, it says by the Saita. Over there also you have to write a paragraph. And you write a paragraph and you put it in the water and you erase it in the water. Then she drinks it. Always kaisev, tzavai seina kaisev. Rabbi Yehuda says that you only write the curses, but you don't write the instructions. There's different sections of that parsha. It says that the Kayan has her administers an oath to her, and the Rabbi Yehuda says that she only writes Yitin Hashem Isach LaAllah Ulashvua. Hashem would make you into a curse, into an oath. Over there, it's specific reason that you only write that. But over here, that it says that you should write them. Even the instructions. Over there, there's a special reason why not. At the time of the Rabbi Yehuda Mishum Deksiv Kasav, time of the Rabbi Yehuda Mishum Deksiv Alais in Savayis Light. So the Gemara asks like this: you quoted a pasuk that says Uchsav Tam, which says that you have to write everything, and that tells me that you have to write even the instructions. So why do I need the pasuk Uchsav Tam to tell me that we need to write the instructions? Over there, I have a special reason that tells me why I don't write the instructions, and over here I don't have that reason. Over there it says Ha'ela, and I don't. That tells me only the curse you're writing it, and not the instructions. Over here it doesn't say Ha'ela, so of course I would have to write everything. Gemara says no, it's true, it's necessary. I could have thought that I make a Gzeira Shava. This is very interesting that the Gemara should do this. I could have thought that I'll make my own Gzeira Shava. I ain't not done Gzeira Shava miatzma. It's a question of it. I don't know what the answer is. Okay. Ma hasam alais in tzavais lai. I would have learned it just like over there it says v'kasav, and over here it says v'kasav, just like over there, only the curses and not the instructions. So that's why it says of Saftam. That tells me that I have to write the instructions. They had this story with this shliach. He asked, he gave a mezuzah to someone, and he didn't put it up. He just left it at the house. Afterwards, he told him, "Did you put up the mezuzah?" He said, "Yeah, I put up the mezuzah, but inside with these instructions, this scroll with the I threw that out. I don't need the instructions." Here you see it's instructions. There's a source in the Gemara. It's called instructions. Okay. Tani Rav Avadia, Kamei Rava. Rav Avadia is taught in front of Rava. V'limadatem sheheli mutchatam shitin revach beinat veikim. Limadatem means that when you should learn, you should teach them to your son. Madatem, that means that you should say this perfectly. And you have to give a space between the letters that could be combined. Ani Rava Basrei, Rava responded, Kagain al levavcha. The word al levavcha, it ends with an L sound, and it starts it ends with an L sound. It starts with an L sound. And al levavchem, it's you have the same issue. You have to make a pause. So you have to separate. B'chol levavchem. Those are also the word kol in the first syllable, first consonant. Esev besadcha. That's an interesting one because one is a soft vase, and one is a hard one. So that's interesting. Vavadatem mehera. Also, you can say it. You're using only one mem sound. Vavadatem mehera. You didn't do vavadatem mehera. So you have to make a pause. Hakanaf psil. That's another one where there's a soft hey, and in the hard one, but for some reason it could be confused. Eschem me'eretz, and that's another one. The mem over there you need a pause. Amar Rab Chama b'Rabbi Chanina. It's very early. Amira. In Eretz Yisrael, anyone that recites the Shema and is careful with the letters mitzan like Gehenim, they cool off Gehenim for it. What a reward! No, over here it says in the Shiltes, there's some other words there. The Shiltes is from Rabbi Chaygan. Over there it says even if he was supposed to go to Gehenim, it gets cooled off. Not that, right? That's a little better, isn't it?
I remember, I've seen some in LA and shul. They take the red marker on the siddur. Start every siddur they go through in shul, marking the Shema.
To make a separation.
Yeah. I'm just wondering why we're not so seemingly that siddur was imposed with such machmer on that.
I mean, to give those instructions. I don't know. Yeah.
Even this punctuation, the Israeli one seems to be more.
Yeah, the instructions.
Here it says that in certain places in Eretz Yisrael and outside of Eretz Yisrael, there's no clear distinction between the pronunciation of the hard and the soft.
Oh wow!
And it's certainly there were places where the soft were read as though they had a dugish leaning, as is the practice of certain Jewish communities today, where they're not so particular. Or perhaps it's read as a soft, which is the case of the Yerushalmi or Yerushalmi. The soft and hard are used interchangeably for days and vav.
Interesting. That explains it. That helps us. It could be the pronunciation has been adjusted over the years. We have a clear distinction between a days and a phase. It's a different sound. It could be it was closer at a certain time. Shneimar, as it says here, we're talking about being careful with the letters. They cool off Gehenim. The Fares Shaddai Malachim, when God scatters the kings. But Tashlik B'Tzalmain, he whitens in the darkness. Al Tikri B'Farish, Ela B'Farish. That doesn't mean to spread, it means that he clarifies, it means he separates them. Al Tikri B'Tzalmain, Ela B'Tzalmaveth. Tzalmaveth, I guess, is in the shadow of death, which is referring to Gehenna. So over there, he gets whitened, it means it gets cooled down. If he is farish, if he clarifies the letters of the Shema. Another statement from Chav Bar Chanina. Lama nismachu alim lenechalim. This is in the section of Bilam's.
That's for anybody to know.
If you recite the Shema carefully. The Ksiv, it says over there, why is it saying alim next to nechalim? Which is, alim are tents according to Rashi, not according to Tosfos. According to Tosfos, it's like a type of soap, a type of spice. And nechalim are streams. The Ksiv, kenechalim nitayu, stretched out like streams, keganes alinar, like gardens next to a river. Ka'alim nitayu, stretched out like tents. I'm sorry, ka'alim nita, like tents that are planted. Laimalach, it's coming to tell you, just like a stream brings a person from impurity to purity. Also, an oil, a tent, brings a person from chayva, which means guilt, to merit.
So how does Tosfos work down with spice?
Tosfos learns that Oyalim is going back to the pasuk of what the Gemara is referring to as Matayva Alecha Yaakov, that there's a pasuk here that the Gemara didn't quote. Rashi does the whole thing from this pasuk. I saw
more of a
yeah, you're right. I saw in the Ben Ish Chai, in the Ben Yayada, that he says, Rashi says, Hafalim Bati Midrashis. What is the tent that brings a person to merit? Is the base medrash and the base Knesset. Someone goes to shul, even to learn, it takes him from guilt to merit. So he says that Zechus is the gematria 433 and 433. And bias, together with chayva, is also 433. So it's the base medrash that takes a person from the chayva and turns it into a schos. Yeah, Kayla Mafreila Yatsa.
The original pasuk is alim is aloe, but the Gemara is changing it and saying ohalim instead of ahalim.
That's what Tosfos points out, right? Okay. We're holding here. If someone recites the Shema out of order, he doesn't fulfill the obligation. Rabami Barabasi have a kokachin like Ganana or Rabbi Lazar. Rabami and Barabasi are weaving a chuppah for Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Lazar is going to get married. And Rabami and Rabasi, if you look at this chart here, this would be Rabbi Lazar ben Kedas. Rabami and Rabasi are here. Rabbi Lazar is here. The students of Rabbi Yochanan, and they are making this chuppah. They're preparing for the. So, Amar Lahu. I guess Rabbi Lazar was younger. Maybe I don't know. Amar says to them, you're busy over here preparing the chuppah. I'm going to go to the Beis Medrash and do some learning. I'll come back. I'll tell you what I hear. Azal, he goes, he hears a Tana that's teaching in front of Rabbi Yochanan. If someone, this is the Tana. The Tana is a student that has a good memory and he remembers all of the Mishnayos and the Brachos. And he would recite it, and the Amira would expound on it and explain what it's referring to. It's comparable to the university library. those days. You have to have someone that remembered everything.
Human encyclopedia.
Right. So he's reciting it, and Rabbi Yochanan's going to explain. He says like this: Kara b'tah, v'nei yedei le'chantah. If someone recites the Shema and he makes a mistake, he doesn't know where he made the mistake. So be'emtza perek, if he's in the middle of the chapter, yachzal reish, he goes back to the beginning. Bein perek leperek, if he's between chapters, yachzal leperek rishon, he goes back to the first paragraph of Shema. It means you know that he took a pause. He doesn't know, is he up to Vayim Shemaya or up to Vayomer? He goes back to Vayim Shemaya. Ben ksiva leksiva. Oh, this is an interesting one. If this says twice in the Shema, uchsavtam. He doesn't know which one he's up to. So Yachsel leksiva Rishayna, he goes back to the first one. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan says, you follow?
Yeah.
That's only if he didn't start saying Laman Yirba Yemechem. Why? Then, if he started Laman Yirba Yemechem, Sirche is his habit. He's following his habit, and he did it correctly. He knows he's recited this a bunch of times, so he's probably that's where he's holding it. That's right. Asav Amalu. He comes back, Rabbi Elazar goes back and he tells it to them. If we only came to hear, just to hear this, it was enough. Just to hear this halacha. So they weren't even in the Beis Medrash. They were just helping prepare the chuppah. There's an interesting point. Rashi, Sirchi Nakat, he says that it only works in Parshas Vayomer. It doesn't work. You can't do Sirchi Nakat in earlier paragraphs. It's a problem because you're more familiar with the earlier paragraphs than you are with Vayomer, because especially in Eretz Yisrael, we learned before that they didn't say Vayomer
At nighttime. Or at
at nighttime. They didn't say Vayomer at nighttime. I'll have to take that. Thank you. I don't know. Okay. He thinks that's where you learn at 5:30.
Where it says that about the time of cooking. So it says that at the birth of a son, they would plant a cedar tree, and at the birth of a daughter, they would plant an acacia tree. When the children were to be married, they would take the branches from the trees and tie the chuppah.
The Roman problem, right? When the carriage broke down.
This is that.
Yeah, that's
There's
there's a story about that. Yeah.
Romans, the big
They
fight.
cut it down. And use it to build the
I remember that. Okay, we have a new Mishnah. It says workers. They have a responsibility to the boss. And they're at work, and it comes time for the Shema, so they're allowed to recite the Shema if they're on top of a tree. And if they're on top of a stone wall, they can recite the Shema. But when it comes to Shemana Esrei, that's a different story. Shemana Esrei is a different story. David,
Yeah, because you need the steps.
what you just quoted, does it say where it is in Lida? We just quoted this thing about the trees.
You need a lot of focus. Doesn't give a source.
Okay. I'm sorry?
Oh, not that.
Chassan patim mikriya shema laila rishayna. A chassan, someone that gets married, if his wife is her first marriage, she's a psula, so he's pater the first night. Abad Mitzvah Shabbos, until Mitzvah Shabbos, he would get married on a Revi, which means Tuesday night, and until Shabbos. If he didn't consummate the marriage. There's a story with Ram Gamliel. He got married. See, he was getting married. The Kara Laila Rishayna, and he recites the Shema the first night. Amalei Talmida, the Madatanu Rabbeinu. Have you not taught us? Our teacher, Shechasan Patim Mikriya Shema. You're exempt. I'm not going to listen to you when you try to take away accepting the kingdom of heaven, even for 1 hour. We're going to see it's a problematic story when we learn the next Mishnah. Taner Rabbanon, starting a brayso. It says workers can recite the Shema on top of a tree or on top of a stone wall. Comes to Shemana Esrei. They're allowed to say on top of a olive tree and on top of a fig tree. Other trees, they have to go down. What's the reason? Apparently, it was harder to get down from an olive tree and a fig tree. And you're also not afraid that you're going to fall on those trees. So therefore, you can daven over there. Other trees...
Because the branches are close together. They have many branches. A perfect person to focus and still stand.
On an olive tree, I could see that. On a fig tree, so like more clumsy. Isn't it like spread out? It's at least the fig trees I'm familiar with. More okay. It's interesting. Sharkali lanas, you have to go down. A balabayas. What about someone that's not a worker? The concentration is not as good. And so therefore, a balabas, that he makes his own schedule. He can do the Daf Yomi in the afternoon. He doesn't have work. He can make any schedule. So when it comes time for davening, he has to go down. Everyone else is a worker. They can't just take off to go down to daven. So they can recite the davening inside these trees. Okay, Rami Lei, Rav Mari, Breda Bas Shmuel, Rava. You have to see this. Rav Mari, the son of the daughter of Shmuel. Ra the Bas Shmuel, Rava. Son of the daughter of Shmuel. Rashi over here tells us the story. It's the grandson. However, Shmuel had a daughter, Rachel, and she was captured. And she was in captivity. And there was a fellow by the name of Isser that married her, and that lived with her. And Isser later converted. But however, the child, his name is Rav Mari, is called Mari Barachel in many places in the Gemara. Mari Barachel. And over here, he's just called Rav Mari Breda Bas Shmuel, and he asks Rabbah. There's someone else, Mari Barisik. Was he the strong person?
That was just Mari's. That was not a Tom. That was just
right. But was he the one that said he's a strong person?
Yeah, he was a strong person they were afraid of. That wasn't Tom.
I see it's a common name. So he says, Tanan, he asks like this. He's going to ask a contradiction. It says, workers are allowed to recite on top of recite the Shema on top of a tree, on top of a stone wall. Kavana. See, you don't need kavana for Shema if you can say it in a tree. Right. For a mini, but there's a contradiction. It says Shema Yisrael, and it also says Haskes Shema Yisrael. Just like Haskes means be attentive, so too Shema Yisrael means you have to pay attention. So it means you have to have concentration. So how could you recite it on top of a tree? Ishtik. Rav is quiet. Amalei Midish Mielach Ba. He says, what about you? Do you know an answer? Amalei Hachim Rav Sheshes. Rav Sheshes says, so says Rav Sheshes, Vusha B'Telen Mimalachtan L'Kayren. They have to stop doing their work. So I guess even in the tree, but they can't be picking the fruits. Okay. Vahatanya was taught in a brayso, but it says that while they're doing the work, like kasha, there's a difference. The first parak or the second parak. The first parak, you need more concentration, and the second parak, you don't need all of that concentration. You can continue doing the work during the second parak. That means v'hayim shemaya. Taner Rabbanan was taught in a brayso peilim.
Wasn't there a story of like Rabbi Akiva or something who he said you're not allowed to stop when you're doing work? It's like stealing if you stop or anything.
Right.
Shouldn't the workers should be having before?
Yeah. Right. So what we're saying here is that what I think what we're saying is what the owner what the owner would, what the boss would allow his workers to do. In other words, you hire a worker, so most basic obligations you're accepting. You can go to the bathroom, but you can recite that you can do the most basic thing. But then he hires a worker, and he starts first. He says, before I have to start learning chassidus, then I have to use the mikveh. Comes time to do the work, it's already mincha time. He says, I have to go to mincha. So this I never accepted, right? Okay. Tana Rabbanan. I'm not talking about anyone specific. I don't know anyone, but it is possible that someone could do that. Okay. Workers that are doing work for the homeowner, they recite the Shema and they say the brachas before and afterwards. The brachas is referring to Yetzirah or Barachesha. And they eat the bread. And they say the bracha before and afterwards. In other words, before the bracha. Some had a girsa, as we'll see shortly. But they say the bracha before and afterwards. And that means they can bench. And they can recite Shemon Esrei. Aval. Where does that Zion go to? That's a quote from Shulchan Aruch. But they can't daven to the Amma. That's going to take longer. They nice and kapayim, and they can't do duchen. Now the problem is we have another brayso that says that they don't recite the whole Shemon Esrei. We have a brayso that says they say me'en Shemon Esrei. What's me'en Shemon Esrei? Havinenu. Me'en means quasi. They say a quasi Shemon Esrei. So that's Havinenu. Havinenu works that it starts with 3 brachas at the beginning, 11 brachas in the center, and 12 brachas. We have to get to 19. 13 brachas. Why does it say achas hasita? And 3 brachas at the end. No, you're 13 away from. 13 away from 19.
They're like really crunched for time.
So we'll see. It's a discussion later. Take a look. So So you're quoting 2 brises. It's not a way of resolving a contradiction. One of the ways is by saying it's a different opinion. That's how we did it here. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yeshua holds that every day a person recites Havinenu. He doesn't have to recite the whole Shemon Esrei every day. Rabbi Yeshua, so why do we say just workers? Anyone is allowed to recite Havinenu. Gemara says, really, both are Rabbi Gamliel, and there's no question. Rabbi Gamliel that holds normally you're supposed to recite Shemon Esrei, but over here he says that there are certain times when you don't have to. It depends. If they're getting paid, then they can't recite the whole Shemon Esrei. They have to recite the shortened Shemon Esrei. They can't use the owner's time. But if they're not getting paid, they're just getting lunch, then they can say the whole Shemon Esrei. Sometimes that's how it works. They say you don't get paid, but at least we'll feed you. So for that, they're allowed to. Such a type of arrangement, they say the whole Shemon Esrei. V'hatanya, and I'll prove it to you. V'hatanya here means a proof. Why? Because the word vaha could mean but, or it could mean this. So sometimes v'hatanya.
This is the abbreviation.
Yeah. Ha means this, and it could also mean behold. Or ha could mean but. This or but. So sometimes it means but we learned in a brayso and it's a kasha. Sometimes it means, and this is what we learned in a brayso and this is a proof. Rashi usually tells you benichusa.
Why would you be praying shachrit at lunch?
No. We're saying, not saying when they're reciting the Shemon Esrei. We're saying their obligation to the balabayas, to the employer. If he's giving them a salary, then they have to take their time more serious and they can't recite the whole Shemon Esrei. If they're not getting a salary, they're just getting lunch, then the time that when it comes time for davening, then they are allowed to recite the whole Shemona Esrei. It says, workers that do work for the homeowner, they recite the Shema, they daven, they eat their bread. Look at what it says. They don't say a bracha before, and it's a big question here. They don't say a bracha before, they don't say Amaitzelach Menarim. But they say the bracha afterwards. Shtayim, 2 brachas. How do you say only 2 brachas? Benching is 4 brachas. It says Ketzat. Bracha Rishayna Ketikuna. The first brachas Hazan Sakal. That you say properly. Shnia, the second bracha, Pesach Brachas Aretz, V'Kailim B'nei Yerushalayim, the Brachas Aretz. And you include in the second bracha, which you would have, which concludes Al Aretz,
The land includes Yerushalayim.
Al Aretz Valamazin, right? Al Aretz Valamazin. You include in that the bracha of Rachim, the third bracha. In the fourth bracha, you don't say, when do we say that? This is the law. That's if they're getting paid. But if they're just getting a meal, but if the owner is eating together with them, then they're allowed to take the time to do a proper benching. We didn't say exactly what type of Shemona Esrei they say, but we'll have to translate it that because we see that there's a difference, that it would be a me'en Shemona Esrei. It would only be a havinenu. Chasan patim mikriya shema. Very interesting Tosfos over here. It says the brachas are deraisa, first 3 brachas. But yeshkach biad chacham laka davar min haTorah hoyel utzudim b'malachas balabayis. Okay, chasan patim mikriya shema. A chasan is exempt from reciting Shema. The first bracha is the Rabbana. Right. Now, there's questions on this. It's not so simple, but there's questions on this because it says that anyone that eats without a bracha, it says if he's stealing. You just drop that. Well, maybe if he's going to take the time to recite the bracha, he'll be stealing from the Balabayim. That's as if he's stealing. This is real stealing. I don't know. Okay, the Chassan is exempt from Shema, and the reason is because he can't concentrate, and he's concerned about several factors over there. He doesn't know if his wife is a psula. He also doesn't know. Maybe he won't be able to perform properly the marriage, the consummation of the marriage. When you're sitting in your house, that's excluding if someone is involved in a mitzvah. When you're on the road, this Gemara we had exactly the Gemara before. This excludes the chasim. Here we say someone that marries a basula, a girl that was never married, pater. He's exempt from the Shema. But if he's marrying a widow, then he's obligated. My mashma, where do you see this from the pasuk? Amar Papa ki derech, we're comparing it to a journey. Ma derech rishus, it says when you're on the road, just like when you're on the road, you're on a journey, that's for your own things. Also when you recite the Shema, that's also only when you're involved in your own things. Gemara says, Mili askim b'kazul dvar mitzvah. Are we not dealing with that he was going for a mitzvah? There's people that travel for a mitzvah also. And the Torah says they have to recite it. So you're not exempt just because you're doing a mitzvah. Gemara says, when you're going, it's only when you're going for your own things, but not the mitzvah petiras. But if you're going for a mitzvah, you're going to be exempt. If you're a mitzvah, that you're going to be exempt. So why does it say someone marries a girl that wasn't married before, he's exempt? Even if he's marrying a widow, he should also be exempt. The Gemara says no. Over there, he's not worried. We had this. Over there, he's not worried, so therefore he can concentrate. If it's worry, then even if his boat sunk at the sea and he's worried, he shouldn't have to recite the Shema. Someone that's in mourning, we had this Gemara exactly before. Someone that's in mourning is obligated in all the mitzvahs. including Shema. But some not tefillin. By Yecheskel, he was told that he should wear tefillin, even though he's a mourner, which means that other mourners are exempt from tefillin, and he's chayiv in all the mitzvahs. So if it's just worry, an aval, there's no one more worried, more distraught than an aval. Amri Hasim tir the derusha, sachet tir the mitzvah. It's a different type of worry. But here it's a worry of a mitzvah that makes you exempt. Okay, let's stop over here.
I'd like to see you all. I'm 2 weeks. No rabbis. 2 weeks now.
2 weeks. Oh boy. Okay, have a good day, everyone.